Well, I'm gonna talk about soccer formations. I'm gonna talk about uh, soccer, three of the most common soccer formations that are being used right now in soccer, mostly in Europe, where the best coaches and players are playing right now. The first formation I'm gonna talk is the one 3-5-2. When I say 3-5-2, I mean three defensive players, five um, midfielders, and two forwards. Um, this is a very interesting formation because it can be used both in attacking situations and also when you want to defend closer to your goal. Um, if you want to attack, you can go and press really high into the opponent's half because you have two center forwards, but also you have two wingbacks that can press really high up front, and you will be almost pressing with four players, and that will make difficult for the opponents to build up from their own half. Also, if you want to defend, you can sit a little bit closer to your goal, and these two wingbacks can get closer to the defensive line. So you will be having like five defensive players, three midfielders, and two center forwards. So you can use it both in both situations. Both situations when you want to attack, when you want to defense. The strength, like I said before, is control the ball. You have three midfielders who gave you like a very solid central midfielder. You have like a holding player here who is in front of of the defense, who can also help center backs when they need it, and also these two midfielders in front of the holding player who can also attack and support the forwards. So it's very complete. Like I said before, you can start playing here in the middle, and you can just switch the balls to the flank to the wingbacks who can also attack and also defend. In this formation is very important the wingbacks. If you have really good wingbacks, like a left wingback, right wingback, this formation would be really really good. There are some weaknesses, of course. Um, the opposition, if the opposition is able to build from their own half, to build up from their own half, they can attack these spaces behind the wing backs. There's some space behind, and that would leave the opponents against the center's backs, and that would be really dangerous for your team. Um, Again, if the opponents wins the back from the wing backs, you will need like really fast center backs in order to get closer to the opponent and try to press the opponent and steal the ball from them. Um, and of course, well, it's important, like I said before, to have the right wing backs who can do both, who can run all over the pitch and who can defense when it's needed and attack when it's needed. The next formation I'm going to talk about is the 4-3-3. This is a very famous formation. It was more famous, like I would say, 10 years ago when Barcelona, a football soccer club from Spain, used it to win a lot of trophies in Spain and also in Europe. It's also very complete because you have three players up front who can also press the opponent. who can press the opponent, try to steal the ball. Don't let the opponent build up from their own half. And these three players are key if you want your team to stop the opponents from building up in their own half. Um, Also, there is like a holding midfielder in front of the defense who can drop and in some situations stay between the two center backs and help them to be a little bit more compact in order to steal the ball from the opponents. And again, two midfielders in front of the holding midfielders who can attack as well as they can defense. They can support attack, they can support defense. Also, the fullbacks are really important here because teams that use this formation most of the time, they use wingers who are playing with their opposite foot. Like for example, if you have a left winger, he might be righty instead of lefty, so that will leave them like space for the left fullback to get very high up in the pitch and then cross the ball to the other players and try to score. That would be some kind of tactic that teams who use this formation uh, like to use. There is a lot of passing options because there are triangles. If you can see here, the holding midfielder with it's making like a triangle with the two center backs. If you see the central forward is making like a triangle with the two midfielders. Also, there is a triangle here, so there is triangles all over the pitch that that help the team to have more passing options, more angles, and to have more control of the game. Because if you have more passing options, you can move the ball all over the pitch, and the other team wouldn't be able to get it from you. Of course, there are weaknesses. Um, it requires players who are very physically aggressive when they are gonna press really up front because they gotta run a lot, they gotta press the opponent, they gotta be aggressive, trying to get the ball back for their team. And well, it could be also vulnerable to the counterattacks because most of the teams who use these kind of formations, they try to press really high up front. They try to press their opponent, and that could leave them vulnerable to counterattacks. Then this is the most standard formation in soccer. It was um, pretty famous formations in the 90s, 80s, and 90s. Nowadays, there are some teams that use it, but most of the teams who like to play with the 4-4-2 are teams that are not that strong. Are teams that try to play defensively because you have four players, like a wall of four, two walls of four players in front of the goalkeeper. So that would make almost impossible for the opponent to break this wall and try to score goals. It's really balanced. Uh, you can also play forward really fast. You can play long balls to the forwards or to the wingbacks again. And it's a very solid structure, like I said before, because you have like two walls of four players in front of the goalkeeper. If they are a very good defensively shape, it will be almost impossible to break through this wall and score. Um, there is also weaknesses like in all the formations. There's space between the lines, so there could be a player behind here, uh, behind the two central midfielders, who can get the ball and opponent player, and who can cause problems to the center backs because he's already facing them. And so there are some gaps where the opposite team can take advantage of. Again, like I said, like in the first formation, the wingers need to be like very disciplined. They can attack, but of course, if they have to defense, if they have to support his left fullback or right fullback, they will need to do it. And of course, the midfielder can be overrun because there are two players, and the opposite team could be playing with three midfielders, and they would be overrun. That could be like a challenge for a team who likes to play with a 4-4-2. So that was my presentation about soccer formations. Thank you.